I mean, that is the heart of the code. And we've got some guys here in this room that have flown a lot of missions. Let me say this. Newsweek did this little snotty article about the fact that we have some of our state directors who are retired military. My response is, if I ever give one, yeah, I wish we had more. Because these guys are trained in leadership, they're patriots, they're excellent at getting things done, at moving mountains in short notice, they're mission-oriented, and we are delighted to have people who served in the armed forces in leadership roles in our organization. Now, we are a strange nation. And at the point when you have to apologize or be embarrassed for having people who wore the... Now keep in mind, let me get personal. There are guys in my class at the Naval Academy who were 10 times smarter than I. One became the chief of naval operations. He finished first in our class. He was a nuclear submariner. Just think how much money he could have made if he had gone into the private sector. But he spent his life in the service of his country. Now, why in the world wouldn't these be among the first people that an organization like ours would look to help us? Now, see, we have a huge organization. The logistics of pulling these people together is almost unimaginable. But you did it. And to have people who have a background in moving mountains overnight halfway across the world and getting things done, help do it, is a giant plus. And if we want anybody in this organization, we want patriots, right? And we got them, and I find that an interesting commentary all the time. But we will not forget these people. We'll continue to work. Now, my dream is that maybe somehow, seeing all my contacts with the Vietnamese, their big argument was, your government wrote them off, your government declared them dead, why would we think your government wants them back? There's a good chance the government will change here in the next few months. Cross your fingers on that. There's a good chance. It has nothing to do with this. That was coming. The smart thing to do would have been wait till that happened and then make another run at this. But we didn't do it. But this could happen in the near future. The fact that we're giving them a lift of the embargo may delay it for a period of time now. Let me go on to your next question. Yes, sir. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
BT Systems, Las Vegas, Mr. Pro. I'm usually loud enough you can hear me. I just want a quick follow-up. I've gotten a lot of response. Both my original home was in Alexandria, Virginia, and I was going over 3 and 4 days a week when they were building the wall.
Right.
And the response I'm getting, my vice chairman's a Vietnam wheelchair vet. Right. Basically they asked me to ask you, what can we do on a grass level roots basis? Or is there wanting to say, Mr. Perot, what can we do?
Okay, right now, what I want to do is put together a good plan. I'm working with all the veterans organizations. I don't want to go off half-cocked. Let us put together a good plan. Then we'll internally have a debate to see. Never forget, there'll probably be somebody sitting there in the room who'll improve the idea if you do it this way. So let's carefully put it together, get a consensus, make sure we've optimized it, and then we'll go do it.
You think we could have something by November?
We'll have something here in a few weeks. Right now, I'm being covered up with people with ideas, and so we just kind of need to figure out the best one. Now, we have another one, and I meant to mention that with C-SPAN here today. When I go out there, I'll talk to them. We've got Agent Orange 2 from Desert Storm, and that's the chemical dependence thing. Let me just net it out to you. We've got young people so badly hurt that they're having, by this chemical exposure, and this includes possibly nerve gas, real chemical exposure, not just oil well smoke, that they are having children who are seriously deformed, brain damage, parts of their bodies missing, so on and so forth. I have a film of this. And they are sterilizing themselves. Now, when a young man sterilizes himself, he is scared to death about something. And we've had people who have committed suicide because they've been so damaged. And the cycle typically there is they lose their job, then they lose their family, and then they look at what they used to be. And I have, in this video, I've got several guys that look like Schwarzenegger and now look like they just came out of Dachau. They're just skeletons. But before that, these guys were really obviously great athletes in the prime of life, and that is a huge shock, particularly to a young man. And the government is still pretending that this was not a problem. The medical evidence is overwhelming, and please keep this in the room. I've made it clear in Washington that they really should do it. 3 years have passed by, and if they don't do it, I'll do it. But we will treat these men. The nice part, it's a manageable population, but it's just tragic that you just think of all the political hay that was made from Desert Storm, and now nobody gives it. The front page stories are over. To hell with them. That's not what this country is. That's not what we are. Okay. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
A lot of the American public likes the message. Oh, thank you. Likes your message, but they're not able to get it unless the media decides to show up and actually film and record your words. Do you plan on doing any kind of nationally syndicated radio program?
Yes. We've been around now. You've heard me say this. Boxing has rules. You never hit below the belt. Even war has rules. Everything you've ever been around your life has rules, but now you're around politics, and there are no rules. There are no rules. But then you sort of sit here stunned because everything you ever did in your life had rules, right? There are no rules. It is, it makes a fight between two lions in the jungle look mannerly. But now we understand that. Then you say, okay, when we go on television, those shows get huge ratings, and the only reason they ever ask us on repeatedly is they got big audiences, and that made their ads worth more money, and that made their anchormen worth more money, and they got raises and bonuses and sold ads, and didn't give a damn about the issues. Excuse my French, but that's what drives whether you get on. Say, well, that's still there. They still would get the huge rate, but access to the White House drives everything. And all you have to do is whisper in their ear, why do you keep these guys on television? And, if you drop them off, we'll give you access. When you get to the point where the White House is sending the Jay Leno show nasty questions to ask me. Now, see, don't, if you're like I am, first you're righteously indignant and offended. Just realize this is the stupid game we're stuck with now, and we're together to try to change it. We are working night and day. Here's the good news. See, the bad news is, in order for access, and I can give you specific stories till you're dead tired of listening to them, about how the game works, and we're so naive. They called one time from CBS this morning and says, we're going to interview the president for an hour and a half. We've got to have Ross Perot listen to it and be on our program the next morning. I was traveling. They told him I was traveling. They said, we'll send the tape to him wherever he is, and so on. I forced myself to look at the tape for an hour and a half. I got there. Not a single question was about the interview. They had, you remember the famous 5 dissidents that had their 15 minutes of fame? This whole thing was a setup, a payment for the interview. Now, so the good news is that we will get our own television show. With luck, it will turn out to be...